Welcome once again to Pale Blooms and Beyond. Thank you for joining us today. When Ivor Perry's name comes up in music circles, it's oftentimes unfortunately discussed as a side note in the history of the Smiths. Ivor was at a time considered as a replacement for the recently departed Johnny Marr. Things didn't pan out. Mr. Perry has his own musical heritage, beginning as a guitarist for the Stretford, Manchester band Easterhouse in the mid-80s. He also played in bands The Cradle, Third Wave, and his new project, Bigflower. Let's hear from Ivor, recalling his early days and getting up to speed on what's happening in his world today. Thank you, Ivor, for visiting with me today.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
So you are of Irish heritage, correct?
I am. Yeah.
Okay. And it seems like a lot of Irish families immigrated to England, particularly.
Yeah, in the area we're in, because it's the northwest, which is quite near to Ireland. It's Liverpool's a port, Manchester's a sort of big docks and city. So a lot of the Irish population migrated to them areas in the northwest. Obviously, they were quite poor, so they'd move into the working class areas. So I grew up with a mixture of Afro-Caribbean, Irish descent, Pakistani, poor whites. That was the sort of area we came into. And people got together in groups for safety. That's where, so they built huge Irish communities. I think something like about 20% of the British people have Irish heritage.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you mentioned Afro.
Caribbean, yeah, a lot of Jamaicans and people from that area. That's what I grew up, all my friends, a lot of them were Afro-Caribbeans, because in Britain at the time, in the early 60s, there were signs on houses to rent saying no Irish, no blacks, no dogs. There was insane racism against black people, a lot of racism against Irish people. It was, you got a lot of, and there was the IRA, remember there was a war as well that started in the late 60s. So a lot of Irish people got a lot of pressure, a lot of violent pressure put against them as being traitors, fifth columnists who don't support the state, so forth. Later on in Easterhouse, that all piled out and came out of us.
Yeah. I was going to ask you about the music influence with that. Did the ska or the reggae influence you early?
No, I like that kind of music, because that's what it was. It was a lot of ska, rocksteady and that kind of bit. Early reggae. We like dub music. I was very into rock music, though. I was a pretty white rocker at the time, to be honest, in my taste. But politically, it probably influenced. But my thing was pretty much rock music, and basically psychedelic rock music, heavy from the late 60s and early 70s. Before punk rock, I was quite a precocious individual. I liked records that were older than my age. So when I was 13, for example, I liked Raw Power by Iggy and the Stooges, which nobody knew about in 1975. And I bought it in a bargain bin because David Bowie, I'd heard the name Iggy Pop associated with David Bowie. So I went, I'll give it a try. It's £1.99. I took it home and thought it was bad heavy metal. But a week later, I loved it. A week later, I was in love with it. You know what I mean? So I was into Iggy before punk even took off.
Wow! Yeah, Iggy. Yeah, I always think of that where he's like almost breaking his back in half. He's like,
them weird poses. Yeah, them amazing poses. And the other big influence is the MC5.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
Because they're political as well and just kick ass. Just what a band,
Yeah, that Detroit scene too.
Yeah, the Detroit sound. I love Alice Cooper. I love really Alice Cooper as well. All of that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, Alice Cooper is a big influence for sure. So there was your brother Andy. Did you have any other siblings?
I did. I've got two sisters. One's unfortunately passed away. Mm-hmm. The other one is getting by. She's not doing so great. And my brother is a born-again Catholic, heavy-duty militant Catholic. Bit mad, I think. I'm not so ideological in the old age. They're very ideological, militant Catholic. So we're not super friends. We're not a particularly close family.
Okay. But growing up, were you close?
Well, we had to be close because we were poor, so we lived in a small house.
Right,
But
right.
we ended up, Andrew ended up becoming a revolutionary communist. But in different ways, we both got into music, and I realized he had talent. And I had a fledgling rock band, you know, when you're young and a bit
Mhm.
shit, and can't really play very well. We try your best, and I was having different singers, and they weren't very good. And then I realized that Andrew, my brother, could sing.
Mhm.
So I went, why not? Let's have a go. And it clicked. We just clicked.
You clicked. Went well after that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. We just fitted, and all of a sudden we went, wow, we sound actually good. You know, then we clicked together. Yeah.
Did you have aspirations at a young age of being a musician?
Yeah, I did. I was a mental music fan from when I was, like I say, 12, even
Mm.
10. I bought my first singles, but I became very involved in music, very loving it. Punk rock really helped because I was 14 or 15, 13 or 14 when the first punk rock records came out. But they had a major effect on me because there was no sound like that in the UK before that, unless you dive back into history, hear the Kinks or the Who. But at that time, it was a real breath of fresh air. And yeah, it was amazing. And but so I had aspirations, and I used to buy guitars with me working. I used to always work when I was a kid, like a milkman or a paper boy, or working a butcher's or a supermarket. So even at school, I always had a bit of money, so I'd buy it. So I'd buy electric guitars, and then I'd scream in rage and frustration when I couldn't learn them and get rid of them. But I left home early when I was 16. I fell out with my dad and I moved into a friend's house, and he had an older the husband of his sister, and he had a guitar, and he handed me the guitar, and I just started messing around with it, and for some reason I stuck at it, and suddenly I just went, I can play a bit, and that's when I got the group. So we were very basic players. We sort of
Mhm.
learned as we went along.
Okay. Uh, yeah, you have that Irish fiery spirit, and you said you and your brother were both kind of fighting against political, social injustice.
Yeah, exactly. So Easterhouse was about, partly I told you, the Irish experience of being considered second class and
Right,
to be traitors and enemies, obviously
right.
being working class and poor. And we mix them up with obviously Andrew's communism, um, and basically a sort of a desire for Ireland to be liberated and become
Mm,
one nation again.
right.
So we sort of combined them two concepts of sort of communism and Irish liberation into our worldview. And the nearest, and the Revolutionary Communist Party had some of them kind of views. Later on, the Revolutionary Communist Party turned out to be um, a bunch of chancers who've all turned into right-wing libertarians.
Okay.
Now they have careers in Britain as right-wing libertarians.
Okay. Yeah. Do you have any memories of the IRA and the bombings and that kind of?
Yeah, I do, and also I have direct memories because, for example, we never played in Belfast
Mhm.
because we were never allowed. We were told if we went, we'd be attacked
Right.
as Irish nationalists. So, in other words, the Protestants would, Ulster Unionists, Ulster Democratic Party would go for us. We also played a couple of gigs in Britain that were stopped by bomb scares
Mm.
or skinheads threatening to attack us, things like that.
Yeah, that's always fascinated me. You know how in a civilized society, during that time period that things could be going on like that. I mean,
Yeah,
I can imagine.
yeah, no, it was horrible. Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
But I guess like I was just watching the news before. I'm a big fan of Democracy Now on YouTube, the
Mhm.
American channel, and they were talking about the big shooting in LA last night at some New Year thing for the Asian community.
Okay. No, I
And
haven't
so
heard.
you guys, I'm saying, yeah, it was like that, and when you get these acts of terrorism and things.
Mhm.
But obviously, where you live, every single weekend there's massive shoot-ups.
Yeah, I know. No, it's crazy. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
it must make you feel unsafe. So these people went out last night to a celebration of New Year,
Mhm.
Chinese New Year or something, and now there's loads of them dead. It's just that's enough.
Yeah, I'll have to catch up on that. It does seem like every time you look at the news or open it up, it's something like
Yeah, 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 totally.
it's just crazy. Well, what were you remember you're talking about getting records? What was one of the first albums or singles that you ever picked up?
Well, my thing, we started off with my first ever record was Skills Out by Alice Cooper, which I bought when I was 10 in 1972 in the charts. But we like glam rock, David Bowie, Sweet, Slade, Mark Bolan, T-Rex, all that kind of music. And then I got into the New York Dolls, the Stooges, MC5. So it cost me a lot of money. I had to buy rare American imports. I had a big Hendrix thing for a while. I was a huge Hendrix fan.
Yeah.
Punk rock happened, obviously Pistols, all like Buzzcocks. Then I got into post-punk, Susie and the Banshees, you know, Public Image Limited, Magazine, all them kind of groups. And then I got into like Joy Division and that kind of music. I liked Echo and the Bunnymen from Liverpool, that kind of music. So all like post-psych pop, you know, indie, post-punk kind of thing, yeah.
Was there a favorite record shop that you would frequent?
Yeah, there's loads. I mean, but in Manchester, it's quite a big city. We'd have like Rare Records or Piccadilly Records and things like that. So obviously going to the record shop would be a big deal when you were young. You'd save up your dough and you'd go and buy your record. And it was an event, wasn't it? You'd be on the bus coming back with your gatefold 12 inch, wouldn't you? But get excited, take it home.
Right.
Just sit in a room and just not do anything else. Just put the record on, sit in a room and listen to it.
Right. Yeah, I'm with you. There was a place here that, you know, had imports at a couple of locations, but one of them in particular I became kind of friends with, and he would let me try out all the records before I buy them. You know, put it on.
Oh, great! Yeah.
Yeah, listen to it. It was like, wow.
Well, we had Virgin, you know, Virgin Records. You know, it's that famous label, Virgin Records. They were revolution because their shops when they opened in the 70s were like hippie shops. They weren't like the corporate shops. So when you went in, everyone was smoking weed, smoking marijuana.
Yeah.
And they had them seats where, like you do in America, where you could sit down and put the headphones on and just play the albums. You'd go in and have a split, sit down, put the record on. It was amazing.
Yeah. I mean, it's always
and it's a cool vibe with loads of other music heads around you. You know what I mean? Everyone's dead into it. It was a good vibe, yeah. It was a nice environment. It felt like a hangout. It felt like a hangout, not just a shop.
Not just a shop, yeah. Well, what was your first band then, prior to Easterhouse?
We had names like Sister Ray and Red fucking Dynasty or something, loads of stupid names. But basically, it was a pile of shit. And then I just went, I don't like it. And then Andrew was singing, and I went, why don't you come and sing on this? So it was really Easterhouse, and the original name was In Easterhouse, in Easterhouse, like we're in there. And Andrew brought the name, and his idea was because it's a famous big council estate in Scotland,
in Glasgow,
that was renowned to be deprived and that kind of thing. That was kind of the vibe that we were coming from, obviously with this socialist thing. But it's also a very beautiful, evocative name. Yeah. It's not like Moss Side. If we wanted to call it the equivalent area in Manchester, we'd call it Moss Side, or fucking what else would we call it? Ancoats or something, you know, something shit. But Easterhouse sounds lovely and poetic and dreamy. And,
it does.
Yeah,
it does.
Yeah, so it's that mixture of griminess and poverty, you know, and you know,
right, kind of.
Yeah, dreaminess. It's like, you know, it's just an evocative image. I really always liked the name. I thought it was a good name.
Kind of a dichotomy of,
Exactly. That's like the music's pretty, but the sentiment can be, you know, what's the word? You know, the opposite guy. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, talk about each original member and the influences they brought to the band.
Well, it was a bit of a dictatorship, really. Basically, I wrote the music, Andrew sang. The rest of them did what they were told.
I just followed.
Down to did what they were told. Play drums like that. Play that bass line. Play that guitar. I was like that. But they were all good people. So it was Gary Rostock, the drummer, I'm still friends with. Pete Randon, the bass player, who I'm not his friend. We're just not really in contact. Mike Murray, the other guitar player, who was a guy who gave me the guitar that I learned on. He's a few years older than me. And Andy and myself. So there's a mixture that, I saw Mike last year as a mutual friend had a funeral. because I'm getting to that age where friends are starting to pass away now,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. Yeah, they were all, they were all indie musicians at the time, and it gives it a sound, I guess. But very much it was Andrew and me who set the direction to a large degree.
Right. So there was a pretty good chemistry though from the beginning.
Oh yeah, the chemistry we had was that when you sat in a room and I said play this and they play that, it all we sounded decent. You know what I mean? Yeah, we just had a good crack together when we got going. It was a bit like, it's like one of those. You ever see the Rolling Stones sometimes? They start up a song and they're really all shambolic and rubbish, aren't they? And then all of a sudden they just click, and all of a sudden it moves one little piece, and next minute it's just rocking like fuck. Well, that was the same thing with us. We're a bit crap, and then all of a sudden we go, wow,
Right.
we sound good. We're all together.
Right. So once again, the political ideas in your music, they came from you and your
Andrew, very much Andrew, but I was supportive of them. But he was in the end, it spoiled the group. He let it overtake but it's a rock group, not a political party. So in some of the gigs, he'd be sat lecturing the audience for a bit, and he would just get on my nerves.
Yeah, that leftist slant kind of reminds me a little bit of bands like New Model Army, Redskins.
Yeah, well, exactly. We were in that. We were considered to be in that environment. The Redskins were Socialist Worker Party, so we were ideologically would thought that they were weak on the Irish question. Also, they had a skinhead kind of look that we didn't like. Yeah. New Model Army, we played with them in New York and blew them off the stage. The great live band. Okay. We supported them, and everyone said we were bad. Which was good. We got good reviews. Who was the other one? McCarthy. Yeah, McCarthy. They had a really great single, I remember. But I remember they had one really good single that I did like.
Yeah, I think it was neat. They had a different take on the musical sound. They weren't hard and rash. They were like, jangly guitar.
Yeah. But that Petrol Emotion was also a similar kind of vibe. A bit later, but they from the Undertones.
Yeah.
And they had an Irish. They had an Irish politics dimension to what they did.
Yep. Well, you mentioned earlier, I think, the Revolutionary Communist Party. How did its ideals and beliefs integrate into the music?
Only by Andrew, and by the thing that made them different was they took an extremely hard stance on Ireland. Basically, they were saying we have no right to say anything to the Irish about how they want to fight for liberation, including the IRA. But that was a bit controversial, because a lot of people said, for example, you can have an army defending Ireland's rights, but you can't go to a British mainland and put bombs in restrooms and restaurants and bars and things. You can't do that. So that was as a bit of a dividing line between us and other bands. So our third record is Inspiration, and that's about Bobby Sands. It's got Bobby Sands on the cover. Yes, the famous Hunger Strikers, the Hunger Strikers in Ireland. Yeah. So we wrote a tune about them, basically.
Yeah. Wow. So you guys were first signed to London Records. How did that arrangement go?
Well, we got hit. We played with the Smiths in 1983, and the Smiths were just coming up, and it was at Dingwalls in London, and we did a performance with them at Sporting, and we got a really good review in NMA. And then people started to ring us up and say, you got to play here and there. So it got to a stage where we had quite a bit of press interest. Organic, completely organic, built up. And we got the people who manage Wham, the famous pop band in Britain, Wham, the two singers, George Michael.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, really famous. Their manager wanted to sign us. We got, and anyway, loads of record labels wanted to sign us. But they got us to sign to London Records, because London Records had just signed a band called Bronski Beat, which is like a gay pop sort of sound, but good, good people. I met them. But anyway, they're good at making hits. And they went, we can just get, and we didn't want to do that. We wanted to sign to an independent or something. But they went anyway, do it. So it was a bad decision, because when we made the record, they didn't get behind it or release it. They didn't support it properly.
They didn't support it. Yeah. Well, your first 4-track, In Our Own Hands, from
Yeah.
'85, was Martin Hannett producing a couple of the tracks.
The famous Martin Hannett, who did obviously New Order, Joy Division, and all that. Yeah, he produced 2 of them. Though produced is not quite the word. He really, they're more like desk mixes that were decent than final mixes, because these final mixes were a bit too abstract for me, basically. Also, the other people, though, Jimmy Miller, who produced the Rolling Stones, Exile, Beggar's Banquet, he produced One More Time.
Okay.
Super famous guy, Jimmy Miller. We were blown away in Olympic Studios in London. You know, where the Who and the Beatles and the Stones recorded. We're sat there, you know, just a little Easterhouse recording there. We were fucking shocked. We were really pleased. And then we had and then the A side was recorded by a guy called Ian Brody, who's in a quite well-known British group called the Lightning Seeds.
Yeah. Yep, Lightning Seeds, right.
So we had 3 producers. You can tell it was a bit of a bitty thing. We were trying to find the right way to the sound for it, and it didn't get promoted well, but though it did get good press. It did get good press and didn't do us any harm. But we realized that the record label was no good for us. We're gonna be a smart, you know, it was just a bad fit. We didn't fit in the end.
Right. So how did you get picked up by Rough Trade?
Well, obviously we knew Smiths. So Morrissey's a good friend of mine. I used to live 5 doors away from Morrissey from when I was about 11 till. So I didn't know him well. I didn't know him. I just knew him to let on to say hello. He lived 5 doors away, but Morrissey was a very enigmatic, famous person. Anyway, so we're coming up with the group, playing gigs, and Morrissey's on Rough Trade. So he obviously says to Jeff Travis, who sees us playing live, supporting the Smiths. We went on tour with the Smiths a couple of times. So he would watch us playing, and then he went, I'll give you a record deal.
Okay. Great.
And then basically the thing about Rough Trade is an independent. So it's a completely different record deal. You get half of everything after costs.
Oh, okay.
So if you do all right, it's potentially a much better, more fairer record deal.
Yeah. Is it still going?
Yeah, I think so. Guess what? Here's a weird side story. Jeff Travis, who founded it, I've just done a version of me in my Big Flower group of that track by Anthony Johnson's Hope That Someone Will Take That famous song by them. And Morrissey signed him. Sorry, Jeff Travis signed him. And he sent me a lovely message the other day going, what a wicked version, Ivor, well done. And that is some serious guy. So.
Oh, how nice, how nice.
Yeah. It's on my website. If you get a chance after this, go on me Big Flower. It's the latest release. And I swear to God, it's original. I bet you'll go, wow, that's original.
Okay, I will definitely. Well, so okay, Marcy being a big fan, okay, that helped out, and then you get to open for the Smiths.
Yeah, so that obviously helped get a profile, yeah, because they were the biggest, hottest band in Britain at the time.
Yeah. All right, so that takes us to this.
Yeah, the great classic.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about the whose idea for the cover to have it wrap around where you opened up and see the rest of Easterhouse.
And Andrew did all the cover was a big controversy. It was meant to be a lot better than that, but actually it was a bit of a fuck up, so we ended up with that. And Andrew liked that anyway, and it looks good now. Now I like it, but at the time it wasn't what we wanted. It wasn't what we wanted. It was a plan B. It was a really plan B.
Okay. Did Andrew come up with the title, Contenders? Or who came up?
Probably.
Yeah. Well, the first song I ever heard off the album was Out on Your Own. Yeah. And that guitar work on that's just what really attracted me to the song. It sounded urgent, kind of in your face, you know, like listen up, you know, it's kind of like heart.
Yeah, that's what the idea. Like, wake the fuck up, we're here now.
Yeah. It did. So that's always been on my playlist. And when I made a lot of mixtapes, I'd always put that on there.
Oh wow, nice one. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Oh yeah. Out on your. And then of course, Whistling in the Dark and 1969 are great.
Yeah, wicked tunes. Everyone likes them. Yeah, everyone likes them. Yeah. And Estates, you like Estates as well. Everyone likes that. Well, guess what? Whistle in the Dark was just, Noel Gallagher from Oasis.
Yes, yes.
He just put it on his top Manchester playlist last week.
Is that right?
Whistle in the Dark, #3.
Just last week. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, his Xmas. Sorry, last month. His Christmas playlist. I'll send you a link to it. But anyway, he's a pretty famous guy, and he had it at #3. Yeah, just going, great Manchester tunes to play at Christmas.
Uh-huh. And then that's on his list.
#3, yeah.
Wow. That's saying something there, right?
Yeah. I think quite a lot of people, as time goes by, like the band more. It's interesting.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think good music, quality music is gonna travel through time, I think.
Yeah.
So
if you like it, the other thing is, right, the album, the actual CD is remastered off the album quite badly. I'm a bit of a music guy, producer, and can understand music a bit. So I remastered it all, and it sounds 10 times better, my version.
Ah, I'd love to hear
if
that.
you want, I can send you a link to a Dropbox, and you could get my versions of it. So I have a different version of it where I took it, put it in Pro Tools, and remastered it.
Yeah. Well, this one that I have was made in Japan.
Oh wow, yeah, cool. Yeah, I'm sure it's the same recording though,
right?
Which is basically somebody's taken the record, because this is early days, remember, CD, and for an indie band anyway, and they just put the record on and recorded it onto a CD. They haven't done anything particularly different to it. Do you know what I mean?
No mastering.
Yeah, they haven't put some new EQ on it or mastering or dynamics or whatever.
Well, yeah. Well, Contenders reached #2 in the indie charts in July.
In one chart, it was #1. They did see about 3 indie charts in Britain. In the big one, it was #2. But there was another chart where it was #1.
It was #1. Okay. Was that a surprise for you?
It's a funny one because obviously, you just go, you're playing in a shit bar and nobody's watching you, and then a year later you're playing in a hall with 500 people every night and they're watching you. So you're going, but I did think it was really good. I thought it deserved to do well. So I wasn't that, compared to the other records that were out at the time, I went, it's not a surprise to me that ours is doing well because it's more musical, it's got more direction, more stab, it's got personality. Yeah, personality.
Right. Did you hear? I know it's a different time back then where you wouldn't, didn't have the email and didn't have the immediate response from fans and stuff. But did you get any kind of feedback from fans on that?
Well, of course I did, because obviously we went out and got more people coming to see us,
right?
And you got a lot of feedback like that, and we got very good press. We were single in a week about 5 times in our short career.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. We got a lot of good press. Big features. We were on the cover of the New Musical Express, which was a coveted thing to be in Britain. It was big. It's like being on the cover of Rolling Stone in America. Oh, yeah. We were on the cover of that at one time.
Yeah, oh, that's good. Well, what led to your leaving the band?
A bunch of things: political differences, musical differences. When we got going, we never really advanced much from that album until we finished in early 1987. We played a lot of gigs. We were trying to write new songs. Andrew wouldn't debut new songs in a live performance because he was nervous to change the set.
Oh, really? Okay.
We had a good set that we knew worked. We played it 150 times. You know what I mean? But it was, imagine how boring it is to me to do the same thing. I wanted to do something new and develop. So we very rarely change things. Me and Andrew had a quite personal, mercurial relationship. We'd argue a lot. And then he fell out with the drummer and wanted to sack him. And we were in Los Angeles. We split up in Los Angeles. Basically, he just got on my nerves, and I went, I'm not happy anymore. I don't feel good. I don't enjoy it. You know what I mean? I was never super wanting to be on the stage as a rock star. I like writing music. I didn't really want to be, rocking up and showing up, and that wasn't particularly the point of it for me. So I just got sick of it. We'd been touring for lots of months over Europe and America. I used to drink a lot, take drugs. I was tired, worn out. I had a family, a home, a kid. wife.
Right.
And I just went, fuck it, I'm sick of it. Yeah, this isn't working for me.
I'm going to say it's hard to be, I heard that story a lot. Hard to be away from your family when you're
Exactly. You just get sick and tired and you become a bit of a drunkard and a bit of a, you know, it just became, it wasn't fun in the way that you would think it should be fun. It wasn't.
Right. Then that's time to get out. Yeah.
But it's also partly because me and Andrew had such a toxic relationship by now that we're having physical violence with each other. Remember, we're brothers, we're siblings, and we're 1 year apart in age.
Right.
So that causes a lot of family tension, as you can imagine.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's two brothers virtually the same age. You know, man, fighting in the band where one's a lead guitar player and one's a lead vocalist. It's just like the Gallaghers. It's just like Oasis.
Right, the sibling rivalry thing.
Yeah, totally.
Well, talk about the Cradle then.
Well, the Cradle was a bit of a joke band, a mistake band, basically. I left Easterhouse and then I had to think what to do. And my friend Gary Rostock, the drummer in Easterhouse, had got Craig Gannon, who was in the Smiths and Bluebells and all that. He's a good friend. And this singer called Andy Housley from Yorkshire, who was in another local band called Charlotte Griddy, who had a good reputation. And he'd sort of put a band together and he asked me to go down and play with him. I had nothing to do. So I've left the group. It's about 2 months in, I don't know what to do. So I go down and play with these people and it's okay. And I go, your songs are crap, you have to play my songs. And they go, okay. So we changed to my songs. And then basically we just have the Cradle, yeah. But I hated the singer. I fucking hated him.
Oh, really?
I just didn't like him in every single way. It was me and him with chalk and cheese. We just went up.
Oh, yeah.
So, but we, like you said, we got a record deal straight away. We got number 12 in the indie charts. We also got a support tour with Tom Verlaine, one of my heroes from television.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he picked our tune out and said, I want this group to support me. So we played 3 gigs with him. But we split up on the 3rd gig. I was like watching the singer and he started to do his Simple Minds moves. I said to him, don't be doing any of that Simple Minds nonsense on stage.
Yeah.
And he started doing it. And I went, listen, mate, you fucking sack.
The Jim Kerr. Yeah.
And then we got another hot singer. Then we auditioned a few hot singers in the Manchester thing. And then I got one that was quite good. And I got appendicitis, emergency appendicitis. And when I had to go into hospital, he sold me out and did a deal on his own.
Is that right?
Yeah. So basically, I was without a band. So I had a bad year.
Yeah.
And then I released 2 independent singles as Parchment. I changed my name to this new group you've not heard before, Parchment.
Okay.
And I released 2 rock records on Red Rhino, which was a bit like an independent distribution label. So I had 2 minor records out. And then I got, then we go to our next stage in the early 90s, which is Parchment, where I get signed up by, I put a demo together of like, I started to take ecstasy because I'm in the late 20s, as everybody did. And it's changed my attitude towards music. So now I've got into a bit more of a groove like everyone else did, like Stone Roses, Happy Mondays. So I add a bit of that to my music and it comes out pretty good in this bright tune. So I get signed by a company called, what are they called? XL Recordings, which is the same label that The Prodigy was on.
Okay.
People like that. So I was a bit of an unusual sign because I was quite rocky. And then anyway, I ended up releasing that and it got really good press and a lot of radio play and people really liked it. The first track, Ride. So it's a bit like my guitar sound, but now more poppy and super loud over dance beats and synthesizers. It come out pretty good. So they gave me the money to make an album, 30 grand. So I made an album, which is that new stuff I've sent you.
Okay.
And I did that for a couple of years. But then I just got fed up with it. I didn't really like the way being the only sort of performer in the group, basically.
Okay.
Even though it was pretending to be a group, really it was me doing it all. I just got fed up with music. I just got tired of it. And at the same time, I'd also got into computers and stuff. So I transitioned and did a master's degree in computer science
Okay.
in the 90s. And I found out I became a developer for 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
So I got rid of music. I still liked it. I still listened to it. But I just went, guess what? I'm getting paid now. I've got a kid.
Did you
Soon
enjoy
I've got another kid coming up. Yeah. I'm getting paid. You know what I mean? And my life's better. I've got a house.
Right.
You know, yeah. I've just got a job. I just become a working Joe, but doing stuff I like.
Yeah.
And then I don't really engage in music too much for quite a lot of years. I still play.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then basically I come up with bigflower, which I know you're going to ask me about anyway.
Yeah. Well, what about Third Wave? Did you want to?
Well, Third Wave was just a spin-off. I've got a lot of my friends are into techno and experimental sort of dance music. We love the American first Rhythm is Rhythm, the Detroit sound, Wax Tracks, all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, I used to just mess about. Yeah. So I also produced the techno records. I forgot to tell you that. Yeah, it's the guy who did the Third Wave music. I also did a thing called 00 with him, where I was producer, and they were really big underground smash, powerful, stomp rave tunes in the 90s.
Right.
Bit like the Prodigy, that kind of music, aggressive dance, rock, pop, whatever you call it, instrumental. So we did a couple of them, yeah, and out of that we did the Third Wave, but that was just a spin-off. I just like doing that for fun. It was a really good laugh. Your friends come round, you just get high and make a record. I also did a record with Basil Clark from Yargo, which is a Manchester black soul group.
Okay.
That I haven't got to hand, but I tried a few things, but I wasn't really in the music scene anymore. Do you know what I mean? I was like, oh yeah, I'll just work, and you're getting on a bit, aren't you? I'm in my 30s. I'm going basically, yeah, I don't need to be doing this. It's for children to grow up now.
Right.
Kind of thing, yeah. Which is mostly what it is until I get back into doing it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It is a bit strange, yeah.
Yeah. Well, did you want to revisit the auditioning experience with the?
I know, yeah, it's probably interesting, yeah, because that is obviously the elephant in the room, isn't it? When I left the Cradle, Morrissey was a friend, and he was a big fan of the guitar player, and Johnny Marr was having problems. So he suggested that he reached out to a few people, including Roddy Frame from Aztec Camera, and other really good guitar players and respected musicians to play, but he reached out to me and went, send in some tunes. And I thought, why not? He's my friend, you know what I mean? I like him.
Yeah.
And it's a chance to play with a major talent. By this time, he is a major talent, isn't he? He's the top, of the indie world, at least. So I sent him a demo of 4 tunes, and he picked 2 of them. And then we met up, and he went, come in the studio with me. And I went, I don't want to come in the studio with you. Johnny Marr has left. It's really controversial.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to replace Johnny Marr. I don't think I'm better than him. I don't want to be in the Smith. Change the name of it. But he said to me, you'll get quite a lot of money for the B-sides. They wanted me to record 2 B-sides to the next last Smith record. And he went, you'll get quite a lot of money for it, at which I only got a very small bit. Then Jeff Travis from Rough Trade talked me into it. Everybody talked me into it, going, you got to do it. It was like, I didn't want to do it. I felt I had no choice almost. So I ended up going in the studio with them. We recorded 2 tracks. One became Bengali and Platforms, but my version was very different. The other one, I can't remember what happened to it. We just did the instrumental. But it was a bit awkward, and I didn't get on with the producer, Stephen Street. Me and him did not see eye to eye. He tried to work with Easterhouse, and he'd recorded a record for us. So I had said, no, I'm not releasing it. I don't like it. It doesn't sound right. But anyway, he ends up being the Smith producer. Well, you know that he replaced me. When I went, he became the songwriter. So there was a bit of an agenda, I would argue, to not really have me there. So he was saying your guitar playing is not right or whatever. Phil Morrissey liked it. But it was awkward and weird anyway. And I was promised things and sort of bullied into it a bit. And then basically, I didn't even get paid what I should have got paid. So it was a fucking disaster. I also lost a record contract with Columbia in America. Because he went, you won't be needing this now, you're joining the Smith. And I went, I'm not joining the Smith. But they said, you are? And I went, no, I'm not. So it's a bit of a shit time. And as you say, it's quite ironic, but I've got quite a good musical story. Obviously not super famous, but respect as a good guitar player and so forth. And it's a bit spoiled by that, being the other man. And they even go, it's like a broken up marriage or something, and I'm the floozy, but the other
Right.
you know what I mean? Yeah, I'm the one night stand. I'm the fucking
you're the Yoko Ono.
I'm like Yoko, but for one day.
Yeah. Fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's good you can look back on it now and yeah.
You've got to, when you've got it, it's like I've got 2 kids.
Right.
I've got a nice partner. I'm alive. I'm not, you got to put it all in context, don't you?
Right.
It was exactly, yeah. It was a bit shit, but it was interesting. And it certainly, I know that the only thing I like about it is that I know that loads of famous people know my name by now. That story.
Right.
I know that somebody like I would admire, like Michael Stipe from R.E.M. or Peter Buck will have known my actual name because they will have been interested enough in that story to know my name.
Exactly.
That's the solace I take from it.
Kind of a mixed blessing in a way.
Yeah, it's true. Yep. I'm sort of famous, but in a shit way.
Well, let's get up to speed. Your latest project, Bigflower, is described on Bandcamp as modern psychedelic rock.
Yeah.
Is that a good?
It is basically psychedelic to me. Is not just having really basic sound. Right. It's, in other words, you're trying to create a vibe, aren't you? Using instruments and effects. You try to create a vibe. The tenets of Bigflower are spontaneity, ideas played quick, play first take, having a psychedelic in the modern sense, by which I mean have a tone that sets a mood, try and use things to set a mood. And variety, move through a bunch of sounds, and it's a good way of just being free with music. I just found I enjoyed music, and some reason it comes to you, and I always play guitar a bit, and then I met some friends. It wasn't my idea to get Bigflower together. It was originally a collective. So the first release is an album, and it's proper mental psych rock, mind-bending, acid freak music. Very odd, much odder than when I get. And then after that, I slowly work with different bunches of people, and it becomes instrumental rock for about half of it. And then halfway through, somebody goes, "Yeah, it's all right, but I'd like to hear some singing on that." So I went, "Okay." So then I sang one, and then I ended up singing on it, and I built it up to a certain level of indie. So I get about 500 listens for a good tune, and a couple of hundred for a lesser one. So there's a bunch of people who seem to like it. And I haven't broke out. I love Bandcamp because there's no work in it.
Right.
I mean, there is the work of making a tune, but the actual platform's lovely. You just produce a cover.
Yeah.
They also give you most of your money back if you're selling it. I don't ask for any money, but some people do pay. And basically, I can just sit there and write and then just publish something and engage. And I get like indie reviews and indie blogs and things. But I'm never going to make any money out of it or anything. Who knows?
Right. It's a good platform, though. Yeah, I think.
It's fun where I am in age. I guess we're about similar ages. I'm 60.
Yeah. I'm 61. Yeah.
Oh, well, you're much younger than me, yeah. But anyway, grey hair. But anyway, yeah, given my generation. But I'm just going basically. It's just great to me that I love music and I play it for fun, and I really do. And the work I do, I think is dead good. I think Bigflower is just as good as Easterhouse, maybe better, but I can really play, it's good music. We'll play. Yeah.
Well, you mentioned singing. Are you happy with your voice?
Lately, my voice is amazing. I sound like Elvis meets Prince. I sound like Elvis meets Prince. Listen to my latest release, or blow your mind. It's you put it on your shirt. All your listeners who ever hear this should basically play Hope Is Someone by Anthony Johnson's my version of it. It is very different. I also do a version of Wicked Games.
I was going to mention. Yeah.
which is very,
that's
very. I take
very
the same approach to Anthony that I do to Wicked.
very unique. If I didn't know it was the same song, I wouldn't. After hearing that,
That's dead cool. Thank you. That's brilliant
Yeah.
because when you do know it is, once you know it is, you do
Right.
know it is, don't you? But it's like you say, it's quite a bleak the way I go around it, don't I? So
Right.
I've done the same with the Anthony. You know, the way you would imagine that tune to be. When you hear mine is not
Mhm.
like it. It's more like the Wicked. But I bet the minute you hear it, you'll go, yeah, it makes sense. It's so I can see the logic. I can see why you would do that.
Right. Well, I think a lot of times a second take or a third or fourth, whatever, on a song, gives you a different perspective, and it may end up being, a little more thoughtful and a little more deeper than what was originally intended. If you look at a different perspective on it, different.
Exactly. This is what is the point of doing a cover if you just do it the same way that the performer did it? Exactly what you just nailed it, Greg. I just go, if I do a cover, I'm always gonna do it. Super different. I've got another one as well, which is a very famous tune, I think, by. Sorry, my phone.
Just email me those. Email me that.
You just keep me hanging on by
Yeah. Yep.
Vanilla Fudge.
Right.
Yeah, so I do a version of that. It's wicked. It's totally cool. Hendrix styled out, complete breakout Hendrix style.
Look forward to listening to that one also. Well, what's on the immediate horizon for Ivor Perry?
Unfortunately, work in the morning. I work in the digital and making websites and all things like that. So it's all right. It pays okay, but it's just working it. So that's on the immediate horizon. What's on the even more immediate horizon is spaghetti bolognese, which I'm going to eat in about an hour.
Okay.
So that's good. I'm looking forward to that. And just doing more music and maybe I'm going to do a covers record. If you know Bigflower, I've got so many covers together. I've got about 50 tunes, of which about 9 are covers. So I've thought to give myself a bit more profile, I'm going to put all the covers together in one go. So I just need one more. So I was thinking of doing a version of Suspicious Minds in the genre of Husker Du, like New Day Rising. So imagine combining them 2 tunes.
Okay.
Something like that. Yeah. So I want to take a slow song and do it super power. So then I'll have a whole collection because the rest of it's quite soft and pretty. So I want one to be like, fuck off, man.
Oh, I'd like to hear that. Yeah. That would be interesting.
You play music. Are you a musician?
No. I don't have the discipline. So unfortunately, yeah. Well, years ago, I got a little synthesizer, and I was intending to do that, right? And then I got through the mail one of those learn the piano in however many easy lessons, right? Well, it starts out really slow, and okay, I can keep up with this.
I can keep up, yeah.
Then the second lesson is like miles ahead. It's like,
what the fuck?
Yeah,
why has it changed so much? Why has it got so hard? Yeah.
Where did they go? I couldn't keep up. And,
it's like at school, isn't it, when you learn math? Isn't it? Loads of kids, like they're learning math, everyone can learn it, can't they? And then you go to the next lesson, and all of a sudden half the kids can't learn it.
Right.
It's just like, changes, yeah, it goes complicated.
It's like they don't take it in small increments. They like leap forward.
Yeah, exactly. That's bad teaching.
Yeah, I think so. So I just dropped out of any kind of musical inclination.
But you're obviously a big music fan, though. You're obviously
yeah, definitely. I've got my collections of albums, LPs, and CDs, and I've always been, and I always like to dig for deeper stuff. The alternative. I've always been attracted to that. The bands that didn't quite make it.
Who would you rate today? What's cool? Like what would be on your stereo?
Oh, today I don't really listen to anything new. You know, I need to probably get
No,
up
I
to date.
don't. I don't mean today. Yeah, I don't mean I'm like you, because a lot of
Yeah.
it is just copies. I just mean what was been on your stereo in the last few days.
Oh, the creation.
Oh
Remember?
wow, yeah,
Yeah,
I know the creation.
yeah. What Alan McGee named his label.
Yes. Alan McGee put us on. He
Uh,
gave us lots of early concerts. He was a good guy.
yeah, yeah. And this is one talking about psychedelic. I like to pick up these various artists. Um, Whoa, here we go. Let me get back over here.
Wow, what's that?
Yeah, it's a pop psychedelic progressive sounds from 1971, UK progressive.
Wow.
So there's, this is how I found out about a lot of, it's got like status quo, Stack Ridge,
Yeah,
Bronx Cheer, Knocker Jungle, Will
that is
Malone.
That is some obscure bands there, mate.
Yeah,
Apart
things like
from
that.
the big one you mentioned, the rest of them.
Yeah, yeah. So that's where I find out about a lot of these, is getting these various. Cherry Red is really good at
Yeah.
putting those out, and that's how I find out about a lot of stuff. So
They
yeah,
put our stuff out. Yeah, they would put our stuff out when I did my indie tunes.
yeah,
They were like, when Rough Trade went bust. So when Rough Trade went bust, I got hauled in by the tax office because he'd written all these fake invoices saying that they paid us loads of money that they'd never paid us.
Okay.
So I was in the tax office going, we're going to take your house and take everything off you because you owe all this tax. And I went, I've never got the money. I've never had it.
Right. Wow, that's a scary.
I got away with it, but imagine the stress. It was a big stress.
Oh yeah, definitely, most definitely. Wow. Well, any interests? Not that you have time, probably, but any interest outside of music?
Oh yeah, technology, politics.
Mhm.
I work. I'm in digital, so I'm really interested in digital politics. What digital means to politics, technology. I love cool, weird movies. I like underground stuff. I like to read. I'm a reader. I've got loads of interests.
What have you watched recently? What movies?
Oh, what movie? The Menu, which I watched recently. I watched The Devils by Ken Russell last night.
Okay.
The 1970 film about the Inquisition in France.
Oh yeah.
I love really great American dramas like Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul, The Sopranos, all of that. You know, I like big super drama things.
Did you
But
watch?
I do like obscure films as well, like Nicholas Winding Red, which has got a new show on Netflix called Copenhagen Cowboys.
Okay, did see
Which is
that.
just a mind blast. Yeah, it's great.
I need to check that out. I did see that on there.
Yeah, you'd like it. It's completely freak out, and I love these movies. My favorite movie is 2001 by Stanley Kubrick.
Yep. I'll tell you the ones that I like is the period pieces, the series like Peaky Blinders.
Oh, Wicked!
Yeah,
Peaky Blinders is quality.
It is, and it's got that feel, that dark feel. I mean,
it totally has. Yeah, it's good. It's like an American show. We always say that's like our version of a cool American show because it has a certain more swag, glamour and violence than the British shows. British shows can be violent, but they're always dark and murky.
Right.
But the American ones show off a bit while they're being dark and murky. Right. Peaky Blinders showed up, didn't it? It had a show off feel to it.
Yeah.
They're all superstars, weren't they? Yeah, they're all dead cool. I loved it. I loved that show. I love that show.
And have you watched The Boys? That series.
The Boys is wicked. Another one. Yeah. I love it. It's a scream. I can't believe that show.
Right.
What they get away with.
Right. And yet we have to wait till later this year.
I'm waiting. Guess what though? I'm so sad. I've actually started watching the other seasons again out of boredom because I got bored of other TV. So I started watching. So I'm on the second season of The Boys for the second time.
Right. See, that's what's up.
It's even better. It's even better. You see more funny things. You get the humor more. You see more in it. The first time you watch it, you was going, "Wow, what the fuck is that?" But the second time you see it, you go, "Oh yeah, that's clever. That's really cool." Very good fun. Yeah. Everyone loves dramas. It's a drama world, isn't it? And one great thing is that television became amazing again, instead of just being boring like it used to be for some reason.
Yeah, exactly. Well, can you think of anything else you'd like to add?
No, it's been a pleasure though. I've really enjoyed chatting to you. It's really good fun, and
Yeah,
it's great to find fellow, just people who love music. It's my favorite thing. And
yeah.
it's good to have a favorite thing, isn't it? Some people haven't got a favorite thing, or their favorite thing
Oh,
is alcohol or crack or something. I'm glad that isn't my favorite thing at this stage in my life.
Right. I've always been, into music, and, this is one, I've done some written interviews. I started years ago doing that. And then just had the idea, actually, I asked a guy to do written interview, and he said, how about a video? And I was like, immediately, like when you get real nervous and like, your heart just drops, like, I can't imagine doing that. It's like, no, I'm kind of hiding behind the scenes, typing questions. And I did it. I went through with it. And the longer we were in the interview, he was a good talker, so it helped. He just kind of ran with it. But it went real smooth, And then I said, well, I can do this, And so then
You can't really talk. Well, yeah, because it's about the dialogue, isn't it? Like, say, for this,
Right.
me and you, it's easy, isn't it? We're just chatting
Right.
away. It's not,
Right.
There's no stress, is there? It's just an easy
Right.
chat.
And that's what I want it to be. You hit the nail on the head right there. And I've heard some reaction from different people saying it's like talking to a friend or talking to.
It is, yeah. It is.
Yeah.
It's just like chat dialogue, isn't it? Something, or on like you're chatting with your mates on Facebook or whatever, and they're going, "We really love this album," and yeah, exactly, it's that kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah.
I had one guy who was all tense. I could tell from the beginning because he was expecting the typical type of music interview. I guess he's been through a couple before or whatever. So he was like, the hair on his neck was standing up, and he was like expecting that. And then about halfway through, he said, this is not what I expected. I said, well, that's what I don't want it to be. I want it to be casual, laid back.
Yeah. Friendly,
just
and just two people talking through sort of mutual interest.
Right, conversation. That's what I want. So,
well, it's a pleasure and an honor. I really enjoyed it, and
yeah, it has been. I appreciate it, Ivor, and we finally made it. We finally made it happen. So
we did. It was meant to happen.
Yeah, we did. And I'll, best of luck to you with bigflower and everything else in your life. And we'll be in touch. And send me those links and
send me the link to where you put this out on.
Exactly. And I'll let you know once I've edited down, and I'll send you the link.
Fabulous. I'm really looking forward to it. It was really nice to meet you, Greg, after this time. I'm really glad we got it together.
Yeah, I am too. And I'll let you know about that, and we'll be in touch, definitely.
Nice one, my friend. Take care. Bye-bye.
All right.